Okay. Hello and welcome. My name is Eileen Yoshimura, and I'm a member of the Gardena Valley JCI Day of Remembrance Committee. And our focus this year is on the arts in the camps. And we are very honored and fortunate today to have Atsushi Ishida with us, who, along with friends in camp, performed comedy skits. So we're going to get to hear all about his experience and how comedy skits helped him and others endure the hardships of the camps and in the war. Just as a little bit of background, Atsushi Ishida and his family are longtime friends of my family. My parents were George and Mitzi Naohara, and they knew Art. Atsushi and my father knew each other before camp, during camp, and after camp. And so I call him Uncle Art, and that's what I'm going to be calling him throughout this interview. So, Uncle Art, are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay. I heard you turn 100 recently.
I guess I did.
Congratulations. So why don't you tell us your birth date and where you were born?
I was born 1921 in Fresno, California.
Oh, Fresno, California. And did you grow up there or did you grow up somewhere else?
Well, in my baby stage, of course, I don't know. From Fresno, the family moved to the Compton, California. And my father was farming in the Compton, California. Until I was 8 years old. Then my uncle decided to go back to Japan. So he suggested that myself and my young brother go to the Japan together with the uncle to get the Japanese education. And that was in 1929.
And at what point did you return to United States?
Then I was in Japan for about 8 years. Like returned to U.S. in 1937 July.
And where did you live?
Well, my family, my mother, my father was deceased already by then. And my mother and the two younger sisters remained in Japan. And myself and my younger brother decided to come back to U.S., which we had a nobody. So my father's good friend, Mr. Hamano, was farming in Artesia. So we came back to the Artesia to join him.
Okay. So when the war broke out, where were you sent to? Were you sent to an assembly center first and then to camp, or where did you go?
Well, we were farming in Artesia until the World War II was started, which is 1941 or 1942. I can't remember exactly. But we were in fact in a Long Beach area between harbor and a small group were the first evacuee. We were sent to the Santa Anita racetrack, which is one
Assembly
of the moving area, into the horse stable to stay. I was in the Arkansas, no, not Arkansas, Santa Anita for about 6 months. And the same group that was evacuated first was the first group to move to more permanent campsite, which was the Arkansas, Jerome, Arkansas. Then there was another camp in Aurora, but we were moved to the Jerome.
To Jerome. And how long did you stay at Jerome?
I was in there about a year and a half. And it was sent to
Was it
Tule Lake.
Tule Lake?
There was a reason that I was sent to there because I didn't volunteer to go there or wish to go there. In fact, that I said I don't want to go, but the reason was that what was that, the questionnaire we had, and yes and a no.
Right.
If I was drafted, do you go to service?
Right.
My answer was yes. Then
and the
if
second
they
answer,
ask you to volunteer, I said no. The reason I said no was that, in fact, that just before the war started, I became the age of drafted in an army, which is 20 years old. And when I went to Jerome, my status of the drafting was that I was supposed to, I was, in fact, before the war, I was almost ready to join the army if I was drafted. But because of the reason for the evacuee that I moved to, and my status was changed to enemy.
Enemy alien.
Yeah. So I said, why I'm A1 to change to the enemy. That's the reason that I said I don't want to go to Tule Lake, because the people who moved to Tule Lake was people that wanted to go back to Japan, or so, you know, the reason that was that, and which I wasn't about to go back to Japan. So I said, no. They called me enemy, and then my A1 was changed to, what was C-27 or something, that the enemy. That was the reason. So,
yeah, and you later told me you were able to clear that up, right? Yeah.
Well, the FBI was interrogating, and they said, well, regardless, you gotta go to Tule Lake. I said, no, I don't wanna go. But they had an upper hand. They sent me to Tule Lake.
I know my father followed you to Tule Lake too.
No, your father wanted to go back to Japan. Because his family, his sister, and
his mother,
property, home, everything was in Japan. That was the reason that he said he wanted to go back to Japan.
So again, you knew my father in camp, and so let's go back to Jerome. And it was at Jerome that you and my father and another gentleman named Yamada did comedy skits. And What did you call yourselves, this comedy team?
Nonki Na Boys. The reason we did that was when in a Jerome on a New Year Day, at the time that we had, the idea was, when Christmas come, we had a Christmas party, and U.S. government served us the Christmas dinner. New Year Day, normally in Japanese, we have a mochi, zoni, and celebrate the New Year. Other than that, we don't have any Japanese type of dinner to be made in the U.S. So we decided to have our own, what I mean, the group, I was working in the kitchen. George was working in the kitchen. And the ladies, mostly elderly ladies, about 7 or 8 ladies, they were dishwasher. And younger lady, 2 or 3 ladies was waitress. And I was morning cook. George was the evening cook. And Yamada was evening cook. So we decided to say, hey, let's have our own New Year party. And since being working in the kitchen, so food was, we can kind of juggle around and make our own New Year cook. And the lady says, hey, let's have our own show. So I said, hey, that's a good idea. And so George and I and Yamada got together. And in fact, that the George, just before that, George showed me this phonograph record.
Yeah, we found the record, the actual record here.
Yeah, I don't know how he had it in a camp, because when we were evacuated, all we can have is one suitcase.
Well, he must have packed it in there.
Yeah. I'm amazing that he can keep that record.
But we were able to listen to it before the interview, and it.
So he showed me that, play that, and he says, hey, what about we do the show, our being Akireta Boys.
So the record
is Akireta Boys.
Akireta Boys.
It's the comedy group in Japan, professional. 3 boys were singing comedies, joking, whatever they come up to, they mix it up. They made the show and the phonograph record. So we invite the Yamada because he was most popular Japanese song singer in the Jerome camp. And so we 3 got together to say we cannot call ourselves Akireta Boys, so we named ourselves Nonki Na Boys. And we made up our own program, what song to use, what joke to be used, and so forth. And we did the show in the mess hall, because the reason was the group in a mess hall, like I said, cooks, waitress, dishwasher. This group was kind of tight family group, got together and put the show up together. It's been so long that I can't remember that any other people did any kind of singing or show or anything. That all I can remember is we did the show for the group. So we did it in the mess hall, and not too many people, just mess hall workers, and their family was there. And we invite our block 8 people that wanted to come to join the show. They could come, but I think we had about a half full of the mess hall people.
And that's about how many people?
Yeah,
say
that's so
about 50 people.
Any other people outside block 8 or wasn't invited. So it's more like a family party.
Yeah.
So we did the show.
Can you describe what kind of skit you did?
What we did is, excuse me, like tried to copy the Akireta Boys, what they did. They were singing, they were put the joke in there, and so on, type of a show. So we picked our own programs. We picked our own song, type of a song, type of a joke, who's gonna sing. Yamada was the main singers. George was good on the being and a lady, so he acts part of it, act like a ladies. And me, I'm nothing. I was carrying a guitar and pretending I'm playing the guitar and so forth. So George violins, he cannot play violin, but he acts like playing a violin. Yamada was mandolin player, and he was drummed a little bit. But anyway, kind of nothing put together, nothing.
Do you remember what songs you picked?
Well, Yamada sings a couple of songs, his favorite song, because like I said, George and I cannot sing. So we let him do the singing part. George, he cannot sing either. I cannot sing either. So what we did is there was one, Yamada sang a couple of songs. Then we move into there's the George popular song name, what was it now?
Was that the Sakura?
Apani.
Oh. Atami?
Yeah. Omiya and Akanichi. They're very popular at that time, with a song called Apani. Omiya, Miya and Akanichi. Two lovers, young lovers, was walking on the beach, Apani beach. And the part was the Yamada starts singing that. Then George acting like a Omiya, and I was acting like a Kanichi.
Oh, so he acted like the lady,
Yeah,
and you were the man.
yeah. I was acting like his boyfriend, and she was. So the two young ladies lovers walking on the beach. And with the part that comes to the Kanyechi says he wants to go to the, move to Tokyo from this beach, resort beach. And she says, grab me, and she says, please don't. The part is that when she grabbed and I'm kind of trying to move away, dragging her, and she keep on hanging on me. So finally I said, please let me go, let her go. If you don't let me go, you're gonna crash my kintama. The kintama means the ball. That was the highlight of the whole show, because then all the ladies start laughing, and when they start laughing, that they couldn't stop laughing, then the final song will start. Apani no Kaigan was the finish, and there's an island between Korea and Japan. The island name was, the offhand right now, that's a well-known song, a very popular song. The song will start, what was that now? Anyway, song, we all three gonna start sing that song. The whole song was sing, but before we start, since George was down on the floor and Yamada was just listening, singing the Omiya Kaichi song, so I have to have them prepare to, all three of us get together and sing this song. And so I said, start going to, keep on dragging until George and Yamada is ready to join all three of us to start singing this song. But that was the, you know, the funny part is I cannot remember that anybody else did the singing or show or dance or whatever on that night. But the whole thing was big laugh. And that was the climax of that dinner. Then we had our New Year dinner ourselves, not as for the block, you know, normal.
The special dinner.
So that's the reason we remember that. In fact, that the show was really good show.
It sounded like you made so many people laugh and be happy, and maybe for a little while you forgot about the war and the camp.
You know, come to think of it, later year, we all moved to Chicago, and there was a Buddhist church in east, north, and another Buddhist church started in the south or the west. So to celebrate the new church for that. In fact, that the Reverend invited us to do the show. So George Yamada wasn't in Chicago, but George and I was in Chicago. So we both went to church to celebrate opening the new church. We did the same.
You did the same skit?
Yeah, same skit with just George and I.
Oh, how fun.
So it kind of starts spreading. But that was it.
Yeah.
As far as the, Nonki Na Boys goes.
Oh, it sounded like so much fun. Did you do that just at New Year's time? That was the only time?
No, just we did that for the church opening.
I see. That, after church. Oh,
yeah,
I see. Okay.
Because Yamada wasn't with us, so really you can't do, because he was the singer. Without him, Akireta Boys was Nonki Na Boys was nothing.
Okay. Yeah, my father did this type of comedy skit after the war too. And I have a picture of my father who is in the middle there
Is that in a church?
Doing one of these skits. Right. This was at the Gardena Buddhist Church. After you performed in Chicago, did you perform anywhere else?
Not I.
Not you.
No.
Okay, just
That's why George is by himself at the church.
Okay, so we're at the end of our interview here. Do you have any other fond memories of these comedy skits that you want to talk about?
No, really not, because George was inviting me to, do the church, but I wasn't up to it, because without the Yamada, you really can make a threesome.
But while you were in camp, do you have any other? Are you okay?
Excuse me.
You okay? Maybe you talk too much.
Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting for some water, this is a picture of my father and Uncle Art. This is about 1978. Again, they remained such really good friends after the war, and that's how I came to know Uncle Art and his family. And in fact, I'd like to introduce you to one of his children. Actually, she's an adult now. Her name is Vicki.
Hi.
Vicki. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we end this interview? How do you think having these skits help the other people in the camp?
Well, it's a good memory. In the camp life itself, it wasn't that good of a life. And I think in the 2 year, 3 years in a camp, that was the, I would say, highlight for us. I wish I knew where the Yamada is now after the camp. I lost, we lost him.
Track.
In fact, from Two Lake, I went out to Chicago, and George and the other friends, they were stayed in the Two Lake. But after I settled down in Chicago, then I wrote to them, why don't you guys come out to Chicago? So the George and the couple of other friends came out to Chicago, and then we were in Chicago for a few years. The 1946 6. I was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
George, and there's another friend was in Two Lake together, Kimura.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Chicago. He came with the George and the others in Chicago. And they decided to, when I was drafted in the Army, they decided to join me with the Army. But the George was, he had an ulcer problem.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Army didn't take him. Kimura, he was nearsight. I mean, he had a real bad nearsight. So he wasn't taken in the Army. So I was the only one
You're
taken.
the only one.
I went to, took a basic training for 3 months. Then I was sent to Korea for 1 year. And as I stayed in Korea, I took a furlough and went to Japan. So I told George that I'm going furlough to Japan. So he said, so why don't you go visit my sister for me? So my mother was in Hiroshima. George is from the Hiroshima. So I got the address. Then I visit his sister. In fact, George, the reason he wanted to join the Army was to go back to Japan and visit his
mother,
sister and the old friends. So that was kind of surprise to George's sister that I popped out and see her.
Well, Uncle Art, it's been really fun talking about all your memories of camp and your comedy skits. And I want to thank you for sharing these with us. And other people are going to be listening to this interview, and they're going to, I'm sure, enjoy hearing about your Nonki Na Boys and in the big laughs that they gave to the camp, the camp people there. So thank you, Uncle Art.
Yeah, it's nice to talk about it. In fact, that I wish, they were still here, then we can talk about it. But,
that would have been.
I guess time passes. That's that.
Well, you're 100 years old. It's been 100 years, So with that, thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this interview and that you come away with some new insight into the arts and the camps. Thank you.